Hi, everyone. I'm Sunny.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rox. And this is
Literature on the Rocks. I could hear you sniffing when the song was going. I could hear it.
I was doing it to the beat.
It was on beat.
I know.
I couldn't hear that.
I went like this.
Well, anyways, book club.
It's a book club.
It's a book club.
Hey.
We are going to be book clubbing Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir.
Project Hail Mary.
So excited.
Hail.
But before that, what's going on with you guys?
Oh, yeah. Quick little update. Finally moved into my new house.
I'm so excited. I love it. We're neighbors.
Yes, essentially. We're 5 minutes away from each other. It was a long road, let me tell you, but we finally got in, and now the fun part begins. Unpacking for the rest of my life. It feels like.
Yeah, basically.
I've lived in my home for 4 years almost, and I still have boxes to unpack.
I think I unpacked my last box 2 years after we moved.
Oh.
And that was only because I had to build a crib.
If there was boxes sitting there for 2 years, my husband would have just thrown them away because he would have been like, we didn't need them for 2 years. So
he's not going into
it was my stuff, so it said specifically Rachel on the outside.
yeah.
My boxes are in my craft room, and they have like crafty stuff in it.
So it's not something that you need to unpack because it's going to just be in another box after you take it out.
Exactly.
I'm down with that.
what
leave it
I
in the box.
do need, though, is pantry organization systems.
Yeah.
I love them
Because
I have a couple extra if you need
I
some.
have just gigantic shelves in this pantry that need a little more loving.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just going to be putting stuff on the bottom 3 inches of every shelf, and there's going to be
Yeah.
like 6 inches of dead space.
Or you're just like piling stuff on top
Yes.
of like.
So I need some pantry organization. I might start
with
following
the
those.
the rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need
And
some of those.
Some like can dispensers, so I could put like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be such an aesthetically pleasing thing to look at. I'll just be living in my pantry after that.
That's one thing I hate about my house is my pantry. Okay, so our last house had very little pantry
Same.
love. The house before that did not have a pantry. We used like a coat closet to put stuff away.
Oh yeah.
But this one, the pantry it's much bigger. It holds a lot, but it's tucked behind the wall a little bit. Anything to the right of the door is almost impossible to get to.
That's how the pantry was in our old house.
I hate it.
And it had like 2 areas behind the walls.
Yeah.
I'd
The
always
house-
put the unnecessary things in that corner.
Yes, the house we're looking at getting potentially now. Oh, the pantry is beautiful. It's a walk-in pantry, and it's one of the selling points of it.
I don't know where your pantry's at now that I'm thinking about it.
I don't have a walk-in pantry.
Right,
I
yeah.
have 8 cabinet doors that we use
Yes.
as our pantry.
Ooh, that's
but they're
kind of nice too. They're like deep cabinets.
They're
Yeah.
so deep. They're like 2 feet back.
Yes.
So for like the top ones, me
I wouldn't
and
be
my
able to reach
husband,
anything.
Yeah, I have to stand on a step stool to get
And
to
you're
the back.
the tall one of the 3 of us.
So
Yeah, get organized. I love it. So, anyways, let's get into this book club. 4 questions that we do are the same every time, and then we have 3 to 4 questions afterwards that are book specific. So, our first question is first impressions. What were your initial thoughts when you started reading Project Hail Mary? Did the book meet your expectations or surprise you? My response is, I was nervous to read this. I know we already said it, but this was the first sci-fi book I've ever read. I really anticipated not being able to get into it, but boy, was I wrong. I truly enjoyed it and may even consider watching the Star Wars and Star Trek stuff. Just kidding, probably not.
Wow.
I like Star Wars.
Okay, cool.
Good for you.
I've tried to watch it multiple
You don't
times.
like it?
I mean, it's not something I'll go to. If it's on, I'll watch it because that's what everybody's watching.
Okay.
I've tried to watch it multiple times. I've fallen asleep every time. I just am not, and I don't think I have a big desire.
I loved this book. Just loved it. I wasn't sure how it was going to go when I first started reading the book because I had also never read a sci-fi book. But because I love all things like space and galaxy, and I love those things, I wanted to give it a try. I've liked most of the spacey movies that I've watched.
Except for Star Wars.
Except for Star Wars. One of my favorite movies is Interstellar. Okay, Project Hail Mary, let's give it a try. And I wasn't sure, but I loved it. And as we started getting into the book, the more and more hooked I got. So I was not surprised that I liked it. I would have been surprised if I didn't like it.
The nerds are coming for me. This is my first science fiction.
Let me get my pitchfork ready.
Go ahead. I thought you would need like a sword or some other Dungeons and Dragons shit.
Let me get my LARPing costume on.
Exactly, my chainmail.
I just pictured
I have worn chainmail before.
role
It's kinda
models.
cool. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I pictured.
So this is my first science fiction that I've read, so I wasn't sure how I was going to like it. And I know I hands down love a fantasy. And at its core, science fiction is fantasy.
Yeah, you guys are both opposites here.
Yeah. So I thought, maybe. The first part of the book was a struggle, but I was surprised by how much I liked the book in the end. And I actually have recommended it to a few people since we recorded the summary. So I will give it that.
Ooh.
Yes, I agree. That's so funny. I do think it's funny that like you said, at its core, sci-fi is kind
Science,
of, it's
or
a fantasy.
It feels like a subgenre in fantasy.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
It's just
But
a
it's
different
its
kind of
own
fantasy.
genre.
But you rocks don't like fantasy.
No.
And you, Rachel, you were like, all about the
I think
sci-fi.
because this was a
Hard science fiction.
rock hard science fiction, hardcore science
It's usually
fiction.
my favorite, though. Anything rock hard.
Oh my God.
I think that's because the beginning of it was less story and more math and equations and figuring out, like his way of figuring out who he was and where he was a lot of the science part of it. And I go into that in another question
And
later
the
on.
science
But
as survival question.
yeah,
me
I go
too.
into that more. So
Weird.
I'll save that for that.
All right. I don't think people are going to come for you. That was a very
You
honest
made it
answer.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Well, I think calling it
I'll go ahead and
fantasy,
take off
that's
my-
what people are going to come after.
No, I don't think so. I think they are, you're right.
I
I,
know,
think they are a
maybe.
subgenre. Like it has to, they do correlate a little bit.
I feel like if I put on my Dragon Rider's costume, it would not be weird for me to walk out hand in hand with a man dressed like a
Rocky.
Like an astronaut.
like with pointy ears. I was gonna say elf, but that's not what Spock is.
No, he's
Oh my
not.
God, what if he is part elf? What if the Fae are just on another planet?
Spock is Fae.
He's a Fae.
All right.
We figured it out.
See,
All of the fantasies
Definitely.
are connected.
They're married. Fantasy, sci-fi, intertwined.
They're part of the same family tree.
Can you draw one out for us, please, Rox?
You're an excellent tree drawer. Okay, so unresolved questions. Were there any plot points or character arcs that you felt were left unresolved or could have been explored further? And I only had one tidbit that I would have liked more of. I would have liked to have known more of the inner monologue from Strat. She was such a badass and was making very tough decisions because she had the whole weight of the world. Saving humanity it was her. She was it. So
She was the plotter.
The plotter.
she was the plot. So I would have liked to know her inner monologue because I think to everybody else she was very matter of fact, but I feel like her thought process couldn't have been like that.
No.
Because even when she sat down with Grace going like gonna drug him, she's like, I like you. I really do. But you gotta get on the fucking ship.
We can't put emotion into this. Like this is life or death.
So I'm curious to know what her inner monologue looked like.
You know
That's a
what?
good point.
She's definitely a good decider.
She is.
Because
she is the ultimate decider.
She probably goes home and cannot decide anything.
We're like that now. Like, what do
Seriously.
you want for dinner? You pick.
I don't care. I do
We
not
are
want
all
to decide.
bosses every day. And when I'm like, I don't
feel
want to,
like,
I don't
yes, I don't care. I don't want to make another decision. Please figure it out.
care. I tell my husband all the time, just pick. If I want something specific, I will tell you.
Yeah.
And there are many nights where I'll be like, I really want this. And then he's like, okay,
really want spaghetti.
That's
Yeah.
what we're getting.
Yes. Perfect. That's
Exactly.
my
See,
favorite.
I will tell you when I want it.
My sister-in-law, she is a great decider in her personal life. And I think part of it is she's in a warehouse packing boxes and shipping them.
Oh, so she's not
having to make a lot of decisions. But if we don't know what to eat, we're like, hey, what do you want? She's like, Chipotle. And we're like, perfect. Let's go to, thank you.
Yes.
It's good to have a decider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, every relationship needs one. Mine was, how did the Iridians accept Grace? I know that they built him a world and gave him food and did all these things. It seems as though they accepted him, but did they really? Like, did they see him and just accept him with open arms? Like, oh, look at this alien that we have in our planet.
No one tried to kill him because for sure people would have tried to
Kill an alien.
dissect
What?
Rocky.
Yeah,
yeah.
what was that homecoming like for him? Because it wasn't his planet. So I was curious about how that went down. And I mean, I feel like by nature, the Iridians are kind of like hospitable, just accepting creatures.
If they were all like Rocky, then yeah, they was like, cool, you brought a friend.
Yeah.
Let's build him a house.
But they didn't really talk about the homecoming. They just, he was there 10 years later or whatever it was.
I mean, they let their children be taught by him. So
yeah, but was that like a progressive
Probably,
acceptance?
yeah.
Or was it just like, oh, you could teach our kids a bunch of stuff? Here, have my offspring.
Well, I'm sure the
Have
fact
my
that
offspring.
Rocky was like vouching for him a little bit, right?
Potentially. I don't
but
know.
maybe, but we don't know. Was Rocky the Grace of his flight? Like,
Yeah,
where
but
he
no one
like
would
he
have
wasn't
cared.
a good
Yeah.
person.
Except Grace was second in command and back there. So like, hey, you guys, be kind
But
to him.
not
Yeah, I don't
knowingly.
know. Yeah, no, but still, he was. I
Yeah.
think that his word to say Rocky's trustworthy would have carried a little bit of weight. I don't know. On our planet, there definitely would have been.
Our social structure would have allowed it.
There definitely would have been people like pitchforking, like,
Oh,
let's-
yeah.
right? Like he's a monster. or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So what was that like? We didn't really know. We didn't get a lot
That's a
of
good
that.
one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
And then, and mine is part of the next one. So go ahead.
Okay, I really thought mine was super obvious and everyone was going to be talking about it, but none of you did. So mine literally starts, let's talk about the obvious one. What's going on back on Earth? Are people living in chaos? Is there war? Are people suffering and dying? Were they able to do anything to help combat the sun dying before the Beatles made it? I mean, I really wanted to know what Earth was like.
Yeah.
And so when he didn't go back to Earth, I was like, oh, but what's happening there?
Our home
want to
planet.
know.
I want to know about my home planet.
Cool, you guys are living the high life over here in Iridian, but what about Earth?
Gravity slowly pulling you down to your death.
Yeah, yeah.
You're dead.
Slowly bringing you to your grave.
It's pulling you down to 6 feet under.
Exactly. Because it's so heavy. Alternate ending. If you could change one thing about the ending of Project Hail Mary, what would it be and why? So I said Grace makes it back to Earth. I'd want to know what happened after he got back to Earth. What happened while he was gone? Maybe they would have said like, oh my God, you've been gone 30 years. This is what's going on or whatever it is. Was there a statue in Grace's honor? He needs to be commemorated, damn it. Like he saved the planet. So
But they wouldn't have known who sent those Beatles or anything.
no, but in my alternate ending, he would have made it back.
Oh,
he
got
wouldn't
it,
have
got it.
turned around for Rocky.
And
He
they would have loved him.
Does he get a statue on every continent since he saved the whole damn world?
Yeah, exactly. Or is there just like a big
At
floating
least
one that just
freeways
is like
made in
On
his
the
name.
blimp that goes around the
Yeah,
whole
it's
world?
like the Goodyear blimp that just kind of travels around the world constantly. That would have been a good ending, I think. And then they would have created some intergalactic cell phone system so he could call and talk to Rocky.
Yes.
Oh, that would have been cool.
I wrote, again, maybe obvious, but Grace would have come home to Earth. He would have flown the 3 years home and then fought to come back and see his friend Rocky, figured out a way to communicate with him. I do think he had very little to come home to. So in the end, him staying where he felt he had family made sense. But if he could have gone home to Earth and slapped Strat, that would have been great.
Right?
Or at least had some sort of, I'm confronting you on this.
Yeah. But we don't know how old Strat is. So would she have even lived to see him
26,
come back?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Would've been
Who would
old.
have been left?
An old lady that he just...
Oh my God, she was in her hospice bed and he just unplugs her and he's like, how you like that, bitch?
On your suicide mission.
Oh, how would you like to die? Unplug!
I'm sorry, you have no choice. It's for humanity.
I said I liked the ending because I knew that Grace didn't have, and I talk about this later, but he didn't have anything to go home to.
Yeah.
So I liked that Grace chose friendship and the unknown at the end of the book. And I liked how he fell into life on Iridian and still was able to have a meaningful life there. So I was cool.
Yeah. Okay. Adaptation dreams. If Project Hail Mary were to be adapted into a movie or TV series, who would you cast in the main roles? So first of all, I don't know if you guys know this, but it is already a movie and there is already castings.
Shut your mouth.
What? It's a
Yeah.
movie already?
No, it's going to come out 2026.
What?
Can we
Yes.
go see it?
I only really casted Ryland Grace and Eva Strat. Technically, I have someone for Rocky's voice, but
Us too.
We do too.
okay. So is that all you guys casted?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just the
Strat,
three.
Grace, and the voice for Rocky.
Okay, so I don't hate. So for Project Hail Mary, the actual movie, I picked someone who I wanted that wasn't already casted.
Okay, for Ryland Grace.
For Ryland Grace,
'Kay.
I picked John Krasinski.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
good one.
I thought he could play the funny humor.
Yeah.
He could totally be a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that
I
one.
like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. I picked Chris Evans because I just thought that bearded look with
He
those
has a good look.
glasses was a good Ryland Grace.
His current scruffiness.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. All right. Who'd you got?
Remy Malik.
Oh, I like him.
I do like Remy Malik.
Dang, I like all the casts for this one. Rami Malek is good. Okay, dang.
So-
okay, who did they cast really?
Ryan Gosling. And I don't hate it.
Really? I don't like that
it.
at all.
See?
That ruined the whole movie for me now.
I just
I
see,
don't even want to see
I
it.
just see
don't
him
wanna
as
see
Ken, and I don't.
I just don't see him as an astronaut saving the planet.
I just see him as Eva Mendes' spouse.
He's 1,000% typecasted, and I can't see him as anything saving the planet anymore.
yeah. Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan. You are a
poor
great
Ryan.
actor, and you've been in some really great things, but
It's time to retire. And go sit with your wife on
your
the porch.
time has come. Dang. Okay.
I think we have some. I think we all have better ones than who's actually.
I
Yeah,
think
agreed.
so too.
Because I do like both of yours as well.
Yeah.
Dang. Who we're gonna pick for that one? This one's hard. Okay. Okay. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, I
Rocks
win.
won.
Woo!
It's Chris. Who was it?
Chris Evans.
Chris
Evans.
Evans. I don't like how that worked at all. That wasn't cool. It's Chris
Worked
Evans.
out in my favor.
Great. You get Chris Evans.
So next is Strat. I picked Robin Wright. She's from Forrest Gump. You know her. She
She's
plays
Jenny?
Oh, Jenny.
She was on House of Cards and she becomes president.
Oh, I do like her in House of Cards. I did
I
not
feel like she
realize
could
that
be-
was Jenny.
Yeah. I feel
Damn,
she could
Jenny.
be
You really turned
boss
into a
bitch.
bird.
Yeah.
Flew far, far away.
Yeah. So she
That's a
could
good
be
one.
That is a good one.
a boss, clearly, but
Who did you pick?
I picked Viola Davis.
So I liked her, but I thought she was. I'll tell you why I didn't. I really like her as the cast, but I felt like the fact that she is Dutch and has an accent and is not American was important. And I thought she was maybe too old.
There are speech people that could teach you how to have an accent. She's can play like a very powerful
Like it, murder.
Very-
What's it called? How to Get Away with Murder.
that
A very murdery person.
she just has like a presence. Like
She does.
You know,
She's a good actress because she also did really good in The Help.
Yeah.
But
The
she
Help.
was not that.
no, she just can play like a very powerful, very confident
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And I thought somebody who plays this role has to like speak with conviction, and she
Yes.
could definitely do that.
Yeah.
All right, who'd you pick for Strap?
Diane Kruger. She was the French girl in Inglorious Bastards.
She's
she
a
owned
national treasure.
She also.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
You and Sunny picked like a very similar looking actress.
We did.
All right, well then,
I'll pick Robin. I like her better.
okay.
Okay, so I technically did not really pick Rocky because I think the voice that they picked for Rocky in the movie is awesome, and I will play you his voice. His name is James Ortiz.
Should we say ours first before
go
you
ahead.
play it? Sure. I picked T-Pain.
So did I.
With auto-tune. It'd be perfect.
Exactly.
You
And I feel like
are dumb. Why are so dumb?
and T-Pain is hilarious.
T-Pain's a national treasure.
He really is. He is just the best personality.
All right,
Establishing my
I'm
own
okay with
vocabulary.
T-Pain, but listen to this voice because I think it's really good.
Also, we don't own the rights to this.
Well, it's just
No.
it's just a TikTok. It's his voice. His name's James Ortiz. You can follow him at Jortface.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Here is, I got a really good question the other day, and I thought I would answer it in this format. Maybe this is useful.
I want to know what he sounds like in the movie.
Oh, I thought that was going to be his voice in as
That's-
Rocky.
No, that's just him as James Ortiz on his
that
TikTok.
Can't be how they have him voiced as Rocky, though.
I feel like it's got deep kind of voice.
They have to
Yes.
auto it somehow.
Those
right?
adjectives are excellent.
Beer, 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 beer. Yes.
Why we went to Indiana Jones, we'll never know. So, ice drop?
Ice Drop Ryland Grace is Chris Evans. Eva Stratt is Robin Wright. And Rocky is T-Pain.
T-Pain.
Science as survival. Much of the novel's plot revolves around scientific problem solving. Did you find the technical details engaging or overwhelming? How did the use of real science impact your enjoyment of the story? This is a great question because I felt it teetered. I liked some of the science. I felt some of it was needed and it was fun and it added to the story. However, when it delved really deep into equations and the hard math, it was too much and it diminished my enjoyment of the story.
Same sentiment. I think it added to the story to make it feel more real, but it could have done without some of the overloading math problem solving. I needed it simplified for my simple brain. I understand some of the readers Andy would appeal to would appreciate this science and all these numbers, but that's not me, so I'm not docking points for it, but I could have done without it.
Yeah, same thing. I think it was a little overwhelming sometimes. And as someone who isn't super sciencey, I could skip some of it, right? But it was helpful at times to really understand how certain parts of the ship were working and how it was important to the story.
Yes.
And understanding the
But
dynamic.
even when they did that, like with the ship, like it's going to invert and like they explained it in a way where they weren't like the circumference of the center centrifuge is this. Like they didn't need to do that because we understood what was happening.
Right.
So maybe we're not rock hard sci-fi people, but maybe a soft core sci-fi we would enjoy more.
Maybe like a hard-boiled egg.
soft boil.
Soft-boiled egg. Yes. So that's what I said. Friendships without words. The bond between Grace and Rocky transcends species, language, and culture. What made their relationship so compelling? How did their communication evolve? And what does it say about connection beyond differences? I said their relationship was so sweet. What I found fascinating was that they became friends without a second thought about them being different species. I mean, there really wasn't any moment where they were like, oh my God, you're an Earth person, you're this.
I mean, there was some nerves for sure at first.
But even I think even on Rocky's side, he didn't
come across as threatening.
No. Or seem very intimidated by meeting this other being, which also poses the question, because they've had the technology or the ability to travel intergalactically, maybe he's just used to meeting other aliens. So for him, it was just like, cool, somebody else to talk to.
Yeah.
Whereas Earth has never met another being and we're like, what is this thing, right?
Yeah.
So for him, it was probably just everyday interaction. And
Which
just so
might have
happy.
actually, I mean, I don't know. They didn't really specify, but it could have been, and that could have been why they were so welcoming to Grace
exactly,
on their
because
planet. Like,
maybe
were
they
like,
get
yeah,
other aliens on their planet all the time.
Yeah, they're like, oh, just another one. Come on.
Somebody else, come on.
You want to live here? For real?
Yeah, right?
All right.
Everybody else has died.
You realize you can't breathe. Yeah.
And the gravity is far too strong for your bone structure, but okay, here we go.
Come on. Bring your non-carapace having ass over here.
Exactly. So aside from the curiosity of each other's worlds and anatomy, they just connected on a common goal. I think when people focus on the main goal and the outcomes and apply less energy to each other's differences, we might learn that we're more alike than we think. But on the flip side, their differences are what made them a great team. So at the end of the day, it shows that with more grace for each other and understanding and appreciation for what makes each of us unique, you can have a great friendship with anyone, even an alien.
I pretty much wrote the same thing. Their relationship was a beautiful one, honestly. It wasn't one that would have ever come easily. And I think the work it took to get to the place where developing a real friendship happened only made my love for their friendship even deeper. It just goes to show that if you put in the work to learn about others' differences, you can still find enough between you that you can develop into something bigger. Some of us just need to take the time to be open to the differences, accept them as possible strengths of others, and they may even surprise you.
Samesies. I think
So
this
beautiful.
This is turning into a kumbaya moment here. I also,
Especially with what's going on in the world, right? Like,
it's here.
Yeah.
I wrote it down. So I also added that the vast loneliness of space and how they found each other in the void made their relationship so compelling. I think that life here, where we're surrounded by people, can feel like that too, can feel lonely. And when you find your people or your person, it makes all the difference. Their evolving communication, falling into great banter and witty jokes, paired with their fight to save each other at different parts of the book, really showcased their connection. I think our world, especially our country, is so divided and has been for some time now. But this really highlights the fact that you can make connections with those vastly different than yourself, and there is value in learning in those connections.
yes.
Preach
Agreed.
it.
Preach. Sacrifice and choice. Grace ultimately makes a life-altering decision at the end. Did it feel in character to you? What would you have done in his place? Well, first of all, I would have never been chosen to go. For whatever reason. they were
were
like,
the
Katy
all
Perry, get
seeing.
on here. And I was like, okay.
Oh, that was a good one.
I don't know that I would have made the same decision on it. The thing is, with their friendship, I understood it. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what I wrote.
Thank you so much.
She's giving us like the in-between thoughts of her sentences.
You know what? I'll just read what I wrote to you so you can understand.
Because I think the decision that Grace made to sacrifice himself was not in his character from the beginning. Clearly, he didn't want to sacrifice himself for the world to be saved in the beginning. So why would he do it for one single alien he just met? However, I think this decision does show his growth. The relationship he developed with Rocky was also much more directly intertwined with his own life. I'm still calling it growth, but that's what I mean. Like, he developed this relationship and such a heart for this one specific person to save his life and sacrifice his own seemed easier than sacrificing himself for a world he potentially didn't really know or care about, right?
Yeah. I have similar thoughts.
I did too.
Yeah, so
Well, I almost wrote exactly what you said. Said it didn't feel like the Ryland Grace that was pre-space mission.
Yeah.
But it did feel like the Ryland Grace that grows personally in space. Being on this suicide mission really gave him perspective, and he became a better person because of it. So at the end of the day, I wasn't surprised he turned around, but I don't know that I would have turned around myself.
Yeah.
I think I would have tried to
Well,
come back.
especially knowing what my life is here right now, if for whatever reason I went, I have a life here. I have friends that I care about. I have family. I have way more than Grace
It almost
had.
felt like he didn't have anything to come back to, so it wasn't that difficult for him to just start anew.
Right.
Yeah.
And with someone who he potentially really developed a family, like, right? You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had come and met my husband and child in space, yeah, I'd probably go to stay with them.
Yeah.
But my husband and child and family and friends and everyone
We're
that I have
human.
here, yeah, they're on Earth. So that's where I'm choosing to go.
Yep.
Ditto.
So I wrote Grace's choices. I felt like it was aligned with his character because even though he was forced to be on the mission, once he was there, he was still gonna make the right choice. He was gonna do what was right, and it made sense. So while Grace was fulfilled with his teaching job, he had no partner. He didn't really seem interested in finding or needing one. He didn't really talk about any kind of family. He was kicked out of the science community, which was his first passion, and he didn't appear to have any close friends. No one was out there looking for him. So if I was in this exact spot and place, I think I would make the same decision. But me, as I am, a mother, a wife, and someone with a full life and humans that I would never want to leave on purpose, my answer is no. I'm finding a way home to them no matter what, and I'm destroying Strat when I get back for drugging me and forcibly sending me to my assumed death. I'm fucking that bitch up when I get home.
That part, that's the other thing is I would want to get back here to be like, yo, you sent me to
have to
die.
look me in the
Yo,
face now.
Strat, not cool.
Not cool.
But you have to look me in the face and talk to me about what you did to me because what you did, not cool. Yeah, did I save the Earth? Sure, I saved the planet. But you still had no right.
But then knowing Strat, she would have been like, but clearly it was the right decision because here you are.
Yeah. You're
She would have been like, toodaloo, motherfucker.
You're welcome. You are
they've
now.
erected statues.
I was going to say, you are now a national treasure. So
You
look
are
at
now
you.
number one in science community.
The science community has now taken you with open arms.
Yeah.
You have everything you could ever want.
You're
Look at what I
welcome.
did. I made your life better.
Yeah.
Humor in the void. Weir balances life or death stakes with moments of levity. Did the humor work for you? Were there any moments where it either heightened or detracted from the emotion? I liked the humor in the writing. I love the wittiness of Grace and his banter with Rocky. I think this book tackles very serious mission, and having those elements did add levity to the book, and it gave some emotional, anxiety breaks.
It's like you read my page.
Now I want to hear yours.
It was very similar. I said, I think the humor was perfect and almost felt on brand for the characters that he set up. I laughed out loud in so many moments. The relationship and banter between Grace and Rocky was so sweet. The humor made some of the heavier moments a little lighter, and I thought it was balanced well. I was tied into the emotion the entire time, and I loved all of it.
Same. This was one of my favorite parts of this book. The witty humor had me literally laughing out loud. And I'll say it again, the voice actor for this book was truly amazing and bringing the timing and humor to the story. It was the humor that I think made me truly enjoy this book, though. Rox even cried, so clearly it didn't detract from the emotion.
Me, Rox, not Rocky, the Uridian.
Rox. Yeah. All right, well, that's a wrap on this episode of Literature on the Rocks. Thanks for listening to our book club episode of Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Join us on our next episode where we are deep diving The Mothers by Sarah J. Naughton. If you had as much fun as we did, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're here for you every Wednesday.
Yeah, and while you're at it, rate and review us. It helps other book nerds and booze lovers find us. Let's be real. We love reading your feedback almost as much as our books. Almost.
And then you can keep the conversation going by following us on our social media at Lit on the Rocks Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and on our website, literatureontherocks.com.
Until next time, may your TBR be long and your cocktails be strong. Cheers.
Toodaloo.
Bye.